Namaste, pranam.
Pranam, Dr. P.
I've used a different place, so I don't know if the light and all sounds are okay. Let me know if there's a problem.
No, it's good.
Okay, so we can start whenever you want. So, 2.59, and this is a very interesting shloka which goes to the heart of the matter. And if you can see from 2.55 onward, Sri Krishna in every shloka is giving you one little step in yoga. And for example, 2.55 was Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan. So you're giving up all the desires, Manogati, the movements of the mind. And then he takes it, each shloka is a different stage of yoga. Here, he has taken it to a very fundamental, like just given the key as if to yoga. If this is properly understood, perhaps we can cut through the chase and go right where the money is, as the Americans say. So this is a very powerful shloka if we can understand it. And if we can touch what he is saying, then that's it. It's done. Vishaya vini vartante. So Vishaya is many Vishayas. And Vishaya is what? All the subjects, everything, data that is coming to your senses, all the input that is coming. The usual term for that in our system is Vishaya. And it has come in the past also. Even in Ashtavakra Gita, Vishaya comes. Vishayan Vishwatyaja, the beautiful line, beautiful pada in Ashtavakra Gita. Vishayan Vishwatyaja, as if they are poison. Vishwat. So reject the Vishaya as if they are poison. Vishayan Vishwatyaja. So here Sri Krishna also talks about the Vishaya, but he's saying Vishaya vinivartante, nivartante, nivritti, as you know, nivritti you might know, when you get rid of something. When you go to the bathroom in the morning, that is also nivritti. So you're letting go. Vritti is to turn. Vri is to turn. Vritta is a circle or a sphere. So nivartante is turns away. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. Dehina, one who has a body, like you and I. One who identifies with the body, dehina. So dehi is that which resides in the deha. So dehina, and this has come in the past also. I think Shloka 2.11, 2.12, you had deha, concepts of deha, first 4-5 shlokas when Sri Krishna starts talking. So what is niraharasya? Nirahara is to not eat. So here nirahar is you've withdrawn from eating. You're withdrawn from the senses. Dehinaha. So niraharasya means belonging to the nirahara. And who is the nirahara? Is the dehina. So someone like me, if I go into nirahara, means I shut myself up from all the senses. So the literal translation would be Vishaya vinivartante. The senses turn away, or the objects of the senses turn away from the person, dehina, who has become nirahari, who is not taking anything from the senses. Ahar here is not just food. Ahar is all the sensory data coming, all the subject matter that's coming through your senses, the energy that's coming, you withdraw from it. Rasa varjam rasopyasya. So, rasa, you know the rasa, the delight of things. Everything has a delight. Drinking water has a delight. Playing with your child has a delight. Going out, taking a walk is a delight. Everything in life has a delight. The juice, the rasa, the essence. So rasa varjam, one who gives up on rasa. So I've given up on rasa. No, I will not touch anything. I withdraw. Raso pyasya. Rasa api asya. Api is be, still, even though. Api asya. Asya is usually here. So even when I have turned away from the rasa is there. Rasa api asya. Where is it? Here. So how do you get rid of that? Param drishtva nivartate. Param is the eternal, the Lord, Shri Krishna himself. He doesn't say that here. Param drishtva, dekhkar, you after having seen, nivartate, you are free. So Shri Krishna does this. He plays little tricks on us. He will give us one little clue and then he will leave it. Then he'll come back to it later in next chapter, another chapter after. Then he will expand on it a little bit. Then he'll leave it. Then he'll come back to it. Then he'll expand or play with it, combine with other things, and then turn it into something else. And that's why I've always felt, and I've said this to you before, I've always described the Gita as a symphony, musical or work of music. Like a great musician leaves a note. Or those who like, maybe Hari Prasad Chaurasia, start with a note. And then who is that Santur gentleman, Sharma? He plays something and he's playing opposite him. And then he'll leave that note. He'll go to something else, take another note. And then Pandit Sharma, I forget his name, but he plays his ting, 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 ting. Then take another note. And so Sri Krishna does this. So param drishtva nivartate. This is going to be one of the key statements of the Gita, which will come back. He has given you the Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma. Thank you, Aviralji. He has given you the whole juice in this. Everything. Param drishtva nivartate. You see the param and you're done. But obviously, this has to be explained to Arjuna, and he'll come back and explain it. He has given a little seed, he'll come back. Just like in 2.11, he gave a little seed, and then he will expand it for 4 or 5 shlokas. He'll let it go, then he'll come to karma, then he'll let it go, then he comes to sthit prajna. And here also he's giving little seeds, just like a great teacher. A great teacher does not give us boom, 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 boom. No, he opens a little window, opens it. You just see a flash and then he'll let you go. Now you'll work on it until you're ready for the next level. So often the Gita feels like you are slowly developing in your own path. And the teacher is right there giving you step by step, as far as humanly possible, humanly or divinely possible. So, such a beautiful thing. What he's saying is, I can withdraw from the world, close my senses, give up on the Vishayas, but the consciousness that is there is not still wanting something. It's not fully satisfied. What will satisfy it? Param, the param drishtva. Once you see that param, now you're free. And so this is one of the most beautiful shlokas. He just slips it in as if we're not going to notice. And he's going to move on to something else. But he has slipped in something very beautiful and very powerful. He's going to come back in the 11th chapter and in the 18th chapter. And if we are allowed to continue with this discussion someday, or if you start carrying on, Remember this. Remember this. This is how we yukta asita mat paraha. I don't know if we have already done this or we're going to do that in the next shloka. Yukta asita mat paraha. Very powerful thing. Be combined when you are seated in me alone. And I think, I don't know if we have done it, maybe the next shloka or something. Similarly, and that will come at the end, that becomes the most powerful shloka at the end, 18.66 and 67. But here, Param Drishtva Nivartate is such a vast subject, but he has introduced it. Now you absorb it. Essentially, he's saying all this you can let go if you go directly to the Param Atma, Parameshwara, and connect with him. So let's see if we can read a beautiful interpretation from Sri Aurobindo. If one abstains from food, that's nirahara, niraharasya, the objects of sense cease to affect. I can't read the next word. But the affection itself of the sense, the rasa, remains. You can cut off the senses like people do, Anshana, they do this. Mauna they don't talk. Inside the brain is going like in fever. It's not stopping. Not even one moment it has stopped chatting. But outside we have done a Maun Vrata. But Sri Krishna is looking at the transformation of the consciousness. The consciousness has to shift. And the rasa also ceases when the Supreme is seen. That's what we have to do. That is the purpose. If we can touch that rasa, that joy of Sri Krishna, then after that, we are good. And all of this will come together. So, at least to me, it is a very important shloka, and I think it is a very important experience. So the goal is for all of you is to touch that experience of Sri Krishna by hook or by crook. And I think you're all enjoying Sri Krishna, and that enjoyment itself is Sri Krishna. If you can remember that, and someday you'll touch it. All right, let's go and listen to the beautiful recitation. See what we get.
Vitaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate.
All right, anyone wants to point out the subtle things that Swami Brahmanandji did in his Patha? You want to play it again? Let's play it again. It's such a beautiful thing. We can play it again. Let's pay attention.
Vitaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate.
There are very subtle things he does, which allow him a lot of freedom, like a master singer, like Ustad, who was that? Zakir Hussain or someone, right? Okay. So who wants? Pankajji, you tell us. You're smiling. So let's see. What did you pick up?
That pause after Raso, like he just sits there.
Yes. Yes,
Like
he does
Raso.
that. And then Ashish is saying stresses on half S. So yes, absolutely. Rasa varjam rasopyasya. So that is that gives him the freedom. When you take one swara and stretch it, that gives you freedom to play with the other words. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you do it in practice. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. There's no rush. Rasa varjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So, our goal is to absorb the sounds of Sanskrit. And so if anyone wants to do this, I think it should be relatively easy for you now to do this. Ashish ji, go for it.
प्रणाम सर, धन्यवाद।
Pranam.
दिशया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते।
Very beautifully done, except the only critique I have is Dehinaha. Let that come out. Dehin aha. Dehinaha. Every sound has a value. So if you play Hari Prasad Chaurasya and even one note is missing, you're going to feel it. So think of it that way. It's going to, inside, if you're sensitive, you'll say something is not right. You're going to not sleep that night. So get Dehinaha. That will give you the complete feel of the sound. Rahulji, go for it.
Pranam sir.
Pranam sir.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोपस्य परं दृष्टा sorry, I'm not able to.
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it. Vishaya vinivartante
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते
niraharasya dehinaha
निराहारस्य देहिनः
rasavarjam rasopyasya
रसवर्जं रसोपस्य
yasya pya pya
रसवर्जं
rasavarjam rasopyasya
रसोप्यस्य
param drishtva nivartate
परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते
drishtva drishtva
परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते.
Yes, very good. All right, good. Just keep practicing. Jidesh ji, go for it. I see your hand.
Yeah. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drushtva nivartate.
Very good. Very nice. Thank you. Pallavi ji, your turn.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोपस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते.
Very nice. The only thing I would say is raso pyasya. Pyasya.
रसोपस्य.
Yeah. Rasavarjam rasopyasya. Yeah, good.
जी.
Very nice. You have your own style. You should develop it. You have a different way of pronouncing. So this is very good. And each has his or her own unique way. So we should develop it. Aviral ji.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते.
Wonderful. You guys are getting good at the patha. So, Swamiji, Samir told me that Partha Dada wants people to focus on the spiritual side and not do any other podcasts and all that, which is, I think, a good thing. I think, patha and all is very important. It's just developing the rasa of things. But if you want to do with Partha Dada, obviously that is extremely important, and use that for your own development. I think these are just the methods that I have used for myself, which I'm sharing on how to enjoy the Gita, make it fun to the extent possible, to be able to share the Gita with others, And with our children, with our family, if I sit with old friends, I pull out the Gita and I do the part and I tell them to do the part with me, especially those who are sensitive to this. And then if when I go to India, I have 3-4 people, I'll just beat them up until they start doing the partha with me. And eventually we realize that we share much more when we share the sound or the music. And so it's just a different way of relating. When my daughter was playing the violin, she was what, 14? And at that age, girls are very, very sensitive. Emotionally, she had so much going on. So she was very close to her mom, and I was just, dads usually get thrown out, you outcast. And I had no idea how to talk to her. There was nothing we could share. She was living in another universe. But she loved the violin. So because of her, I started getting violin lessons and started learning how to play the violin. And now we could communicate with each other through music. And so you have to find a different language. It was a different language, a young girl coming up, growing, dealing with all the changes and emotional fluctuations and hormonal massive, massive shifts and sensitivity and body changes, becoming suddenly an adult, and then dealing with her father who has no clue. So how do you communicate? So we had to find another language. And so I feel sometimes that this is another language. The music in our Shastra is another language, that if you can develop it, unfortunately, when we were growing up, no one gave it to us. No one taught us. It was not part of our culture. And what do you do now? You can't go back in your, primary class and start it. But if we can just awaken that sense of music and how the poetry, the sound, the genius of our Sanskrit, of our Shastra, then the genius of the logic, the genius of the condensing of experience in one shloka, bringing together a whole universe, the mastery, and then, of course, the spirituality, the final frontier. But the approach, what I have tried to do is to bring a joy in the Gita. If you can touch that joy, then the Gita is yours forever. Then the Gita is your friend. Then it's not an enemy anymore. And always I take heart from this shloka, param drishtva nivartate. If you have touched Sri Krishna, if you can touch Sri Krishna somehow or the other, you can see the beautiful ananda in everything that is there. Everything that we are doing, there is ananda, tremendous ananda. If we can do everything for Krishna with that bliss, then after that the yoga becomes very simple. Then nothing is painful. Even karma yoga, hard as it is, becomes fun. So this shloka, I think, is of extremely valid relevance, at least in my life. So if you have any experience with this, I would love to hear your thoughts, your feelings about it. If you want to talk about the previous shloka and the shloka after, then to see how he moves from one thought to another. He's taking you from one yogic stage to another yogic stage. So if you go to, say, let's go to 2.55, if you can, right? So let's go to 2.55. And I just wanted to give a little example of how I have seen it. You don't have to agree, but this is how I approached it. So this is when Arjuna asks him, what are the signs of a sthit prajna? How does he talk? How does he walk? How do I know who is a sthit prajna? And Sri Krishna completely ignores the question. Until the end, he has ignored it because there is no external sign. But he has given very definitive signs inside that you can know about your own status. And it's a beautiful start, such a beautiful music. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnasya tadochyate. It's beautiful music, but he has played with that word Atman. The Atman, your true self, is satisfied by itself. That you have given up the Kama, you have given up the Manogati, all the turning, but the Atman is satisfied by itself. What a beautiful definition he has given, right? This itself takes you to a different world. Now let's go to the next shloka and see how he has touched. Now he has come to a very simple thing, that whether it's dukkha, whether it's sukha, whether it's you are beyond all this, we are beyond raga, bhaya, krodha. Again, the psychological state. But a slight different nuance, he has turned it. So from the Atman, he went directly to the Atman. Now he's giving us somewhat more practical, although not practical as we understand it in the world, but understanding what are the standards or the marks by which you will measure yourself. Suppose you are the yogi, dukheshva nudvigna manaha sukheshu vigata sprihaha. Oh, I get seizures of joy when I listen to this. So if there is sorrow, you're not udvigna. And if there is joy, you are beyond it, beyond seeking. Vita raga bhaya krodha. Beyond raga, which is attachment, bhaya and krodha. That is the muni. Sthita dhira muni ruchyate. Now, see how he is moved very gently to almost a different stage. This is a different experience. He's giving you instructions, but he's describing the experience you will have when you're in that state. But a different nuance. And I don't want to keep beating you up on this, but let's see. Let's do another one. Let's do the next shloka. So Atman usually is too vague for people. They have no idea what Atman is. Atman is satisfied by itself. Yeah, great. So what do I do with it? Now he has given a test for it. In the second shloka, he gave you a test. If sorrow comes, you're not udvigna, you're not disturbed. If happiness comes, you're beyond it. You're not seeking it now. Joy comes to me, now I cling to it. Now I want to repeat that experience. That is the problem, right? That's where we keep trying to repeat the past. Oh, I had a great experience when I had this, masala dosa. Now let's have it again. Now the second time I have it, I won't enjoy it so much. Third time I try to repeat the experience, it won't be there. Because I'm trying to repeat the past. I have to live in the present, right? The present is always new, eternally new. Ananta Vartaman, that bliss of being in the present. So he has given you a little standard. Here, he has given you another slight nuance on it. Yah sarvatran abhisneha tat prapya shubha shubham. So, sarvatra, whatever is there is no attachment to anything. Whether shubha or ashubha happens, you're not attached. Nabhi nandati na dveshti. Neither seeking nor withdrawing. His consciousness is established. So again, a little nuance on the previous one. Let me just take another one, the next one. And so let's just close it. I think it's 58. So we did it last time. Now he is giving you a practical, beautiful thing. Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvasha. Like a tortoise withdraws its limbs, you withdraw your consciousness from your senses, or your senses from their subject. Indriyani indriyarthebhya Tasya prajna pratishita. Another test. Now it's no longer that Atman, very vague thing. Now he's talking about the Indriya. Indriya has cut off from its subject. His consciousness is established. I come and give you a great ice cream. You taste it, you enjoy it. There are two ways. One is the hankering of the senses for it. The other is it just comes and the taste comes as it is. So if your senses are not drawn to the subject, then your consciousness is established. But the next shloka, because there could be confusion here, the next shloka brings you to another level, which is what we are doing today. Vishaya vinivartante. See how it's connected? He has connected it, but it is not a logical connection. It is an intuitive connection. It is an experiential connection. As you do it, you'll experience these things and you'll say, oh my God, I got all disturbed when someone came and yelled at me. I got all disturbed. Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha went away. Now let me practice it. Now you start growing into it. Now you reach a point where you can withdraw the senses. But Sri Krishna says that's not enough. The yoga is still not perfect. And which is the problem? The problem that happens in different yogas is they are able to withdraw, they're able to draw the consciousness, and then what? There is something more. And what is that? The Param Ananda, the Param Atman, the Param Ishvara or Parameshvara. We have to see that. Param Drishtva, and then everything will fall off. That is the secret. And this is where your bhakti will start joining your jnana. If you have, remember, bhakti hasn't come yet. In the second chapter, there's nothing about bhakti, but two little clues. One, this clue, and then another one will come, yukta asita matparaha. For some reason, I thought we had discussed it, but yukta asita matparaha, be joined, seated with me alone. That's it. You're done. But since he's talking about jnana and yoga here, he just throws that little note in, little swara, little sura, and then he moves on. And then it will, if you are paying attention to him, if you're really deeply involved with Sri Krishna, you said, okay, you played a little trick on me. You're going to bring that back later. So it's a move, it's a master. Master musicians, they call them chal. You know what a chal is, right? Trick. They play a little chal. Great teachers do that. They play a little note, you love it, and then it's withdraw. And then they move on to a little expansion. Aroha and avroha, they'll go up, then they'll come down, right? And then suddenly they'll go back into it. And drutta, they'll go fast, they'll go slow. This is what Sri Krishna does. So he has given us a very important clue here. Param drishtva nivartate. I think if we can catch that, and if we can touch that bliss, somehow you have to touch that bliss, and I don't know how to do that. But if you can start enjoying things deeply, just touch that bliss of Sri Krishna, you will know what he's talking about. So just keep your mind and your consciousness open to that bliss. That bliss is there all the time. We don't pay attention, so we miss it. All I'm suggesting is pay attention. That moment of bliss for a second, you need to be able to catch it and know what that bliss is. And then you have to let it grow. You have to be able to hold that golden thread. If you can hold the golden thread, that bliss will take you all the way to Sri Krishna. You have to be able to hold Sri Krishna in your consciousness. Param drishtva. If you can hold Sri Krishna, then everything else will fall off. The way I could reach Sri Krishna was through his Ananda Swarup, just that bliss. And that Ananda is our true nature. If you read the Upanishads, you know that, right? We have 5 shariras, right? The Annamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha. And what is at the center? That's I was always entranced. I was always puzzled. Why is Ananda at the center? That is your true nature, Anandamaya kosha. And that is the nature of Sri Krishna. So if you can touch that Anandamaya kosha, you're in direct touch with Sri Krishna. We need to catch a glimpse of that. And this shloka keeps bringing it back to me with great power. All right, I think I've talked too much, so I will let you ask, or if you want to talk about it, give your feedback. When are the moments when you've had absolute bliss? When were you in absolute bliss? Have you had moments like that? You may want to just hold that. Have you had a moment when you were in total bliss? Be open. You don't want to repeat it. You can't repeat that. But you want to be open every moment to that bliss that you have. Very simple things can give you that bliss. And the secret of Karma Yoga, as I have understood it, is you offer what you are doing, whatever you're doing, with that absolute joy to the loved one. Here, of course, Sri Krishna. With that absolute joy. So often when I talk to, young people, when I say, suppose you're in love and you have a girlfriend and you want to do something, you just do it with absolute fun. You bring something and you want to give it to her first. Or there's no thought of I'm giving my favorite thing. You give your most cherished thing to your loved one. So Pallaviji, I'm sorry, most of them are males, so they understand. So
No,
if
I
you
get the
love
relevance.
someone,
Thank you.
if you love someone deeply, what do? You give them the most cherished thing. You do everything for them and you don't even want anything in return. That is, if we can touch that for Sri Krishna, then we're done. Then the Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga have become one. And I think I'm jumping to the 18th chapter in the second chapter itself. But this shloka, Sri Krishna has put this there, so it's not my fault. He put that in for a reason. And I think if we can touch that bliss, if we can start practicing bliss, I know it sounds very strange, but one of my methods that I've used for myself is to practice bliss. Can you do that? If you want to touch Sri Krishna, then you need to practice it. Or as who was that great mythologist? He used to say, follow your bliss. But following your bliss means you have to know. I think for me at least, what worked was practicing bliss. Just find that thing that gives you utmost bliss. All right. So if you have any questions, there you go. Aviralji, I was waiting for you to ask a question. Recalling induces a want for rasa in me. Sorry, that question disappeared. Hold on. Let's see. Recalling induces a want for rasa in me, even for the bliss. Bliss manifested for me whenever I have not wanted anything of the same. Yes, I think that's a very important thing. I think when we try to use our memory to regain an experience, then that's the end of it. Memory cannot recreate the experience. Experience is the bliss. Did you want to say something, Pallavi?
Yes, since you mentioned that we could share how we're experiencing, if we have experienced the bliss. So I don't know if really this is the bliss, but through my observation and practice over some years, by now a calm has settled in. That's how I experience it. So there is a calm, and interestingly, at a very young age, I was introduced to the word sthit pragya. My mother used to say that. My nana always used to say sthit pragya. So somehow I have related to this very much, and by now, how I'm experiencing is that I'm doing everything that I'm required to do, but the crests and the troughs are not, as much, and there is a constant feeling of, if I may say it, layman's all is well. So I don't know that, but I'm experiencing a certain form of bliss. I'm sure there is more to it, and how I have been able to come to this. Of course, Sri Krishna has led me. That's one thing. But on a very humanly practical way, there's been a constant aspiration, and there has been an observation whenever something has come. The question for me has been, is this an opportunity, or is this a temptation from for where my aspiration is concerned somehow? So I don't know if this is making sense. So things just clarify and get clarified and dropped off, or they just come along. So it's, by now it's a feeling of more or less floating. So the personal identification is reducing. So the constant aspiration is what I'm talking about. That it's been some years where I've been aspiring. So maybe that is a way of uh, getting to experience the bliss that we're talking
Yes.
about, that you keep aspiring.
Yes. Just quiet aspiration, quiet openness to something higher, greater, more beautiful, something purer, something, whichever way you see it. Your consciousness has a different turn towards it. The way I turned towards it was just the joy, the ananda of Sri Krishna. So that's, but you may approach it differently. Your aspiration may be for light, for knowledge, for wisdom, for peace. That's totally, that's your manifestation. The Atman is manifesting in you in its own way. And you have to follow. What I'm saying works for me. I don't say that it will work
Yes.
for everyone. But at
Yes.
least if I can give you a touch of that, at least Kavya Ananda, because Kavya Ananda, as I've said before, is the Sahodara of Param Ananda. If you can hear that sound of Sri Krishna or Sri Krishna's inspired sounds, then and can enjoy it, then in one way of touching Sri Krishna, one sensory way of touching Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna can be touched in infinite ways.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that. That's very beautiful. Rahulji, doing something with full joy and devotion without any expectations for results may lead to pure bliss. Is that right? Yes, of course, it may lead to pure bliss. In fact, if you're doing it with full joy and devotion, you already are in bliss, no? That's the catch. See, our problem, if I may say, my problem was, I'll talk about my problem. My problem was that I did something with joy and devotion and thought I was going to get joy. No, you're already doing it with joy and devotion. Catch it there. If you can do it with joy and devotion, that will grow. The adhara has to just hold it. If you can do that somehow, but hopefully at least you're enjoying my, little expressions of Sri Krishna's immense symphony, and hopefully the sound will start entering and change your consciousness. Ashish ji, attending your sessions and sharing learnings with friends and family is a bliss these days, and I'm not flattering. And so that's beautiful, no? We are blessed. Honestly, I had no intention of doing any sessions. Swami Samir Anand got me into this, and I'll confess that I always used to say, I'm not a teacher of Gita. What do I know? And then I'm not a teacher of Sanskrit. Then I think it was Rahul or someone. Let's start doing Sanskrit also. I said, I don't know the or the ka of Sanskrit. What am I going to teach? Because whatever little I know is because of the joy. And this is my theory, if you're indulging me. My theory is that you cannot learn a language by learning the language. No one learns a language by learning a language. When we were born, mothers did not say, okay, ka, ka, ga. No. If they did it, maybe later they may have done it, but they spoke to us. That's it, as if we understood everything. We had no clue what they were talking to us. They were talking around us, communicating with us completely, with complete attention and dedication and devotion and love. And that's what we absorbed. And I think I shared the video of the baby talking in her mother's accent without meaning a single word. No word is there. It's just babies talking in that accent. He picked the accent first, and then the words came later. It's very funny. So my thing is, if we hear the Gita is the mother, and she's talking to us, and we are listening, and we are hearing the sounds, and the sounds will bring us to Sanskrit to the extent that we want to. And if you want to ever learn it, then that's your choice. We can go deeper into it. But so that's really it. These are my very unscientific methods, but hopefully it is enjoyed. And if you can enjoy them, then they are worth it. So Ashishji, thank you for saying that. It makes everything worthwhile. And we do it with bliss. Yes, Rahulji, go ahead. You need to step forth now.
So
I think
actually,
you're the one who got me in trouble with Sanskrit.
so I just wanted to share my experience with Sanskrit. I mean,
Yes.
I was extremely sort of paranoid. I mean, in my school, one has to take an extra subject, and I ended up taking Sanskrit, and I was really bad at it, and I used to sort of run away. And even I got like a lot of scolding from my teacher in my school and I used to find it like a very difficult language, and to an extent that I just wanted to that year to get over with Sanskrit. And after that, I started like, I developed a fear for it. I mean, in a sense that, you know, I would always think that this is for those people who have, been into Sanskrit since childhood, and they're like master of it. And when these sessions started, I mean, I never took it that way that I learned Sanskrit out of it. But it just, so now even when the session is not going on, and if I'm onto a shloka, which we have not discussed in this session, it's not like that I get scared or paranoid or I can't read it or recite it. It has become like the bliss of sound, dhvani, has really caught on. I mean, and I don't know if I can say this, but there are certain shlokas where you end up getting goosebumps because of the modulation of the voice and the chant actually, and that I have personally experienced, and hence I have fallen in love now. I mean, with this.
Good. That's all. That's the goal for these sessions. If you can fall in love with this, then that's it. Then my job is done. I'm happy. So it's absolutely. I'm so happy that I think it was you who asked Samirji to do, or I don't know, or if there was another Rahul, that we need to
Another
do
Rahul,
another Rahul of Sanskrit sessions. I ran away. I resigned immediately. There's no way I'm going to teach Sanskrit because I don't know Sanskrit in that way. I don't know how to teach Sanskrit. I don't know I do it because of fun. And whatever I've written about the Gita, it's out of just the joy of Sri Krishna's expression. That's what it is to us. So, and if you do this, I have one more thing I'll say. If you do this, you can handle the most complex things in the world and treat them as fun. So there was a book I wrote, Sri Aurobindo and Philosophy. And I hope none of you has read it because you'll then start crying. You have. So I can tell you that Sri Aurobindo always said he's not a philosopher, and I can tell you always that I'm not a philosopher. The joy of reading Sri Aurobindo and seeing how he talks about his vision and explains it and elaborates it, and how it fits in with other people's concepts and paradigms and frames of reference. That's all it was. And it was not that I thought and created a mathematical model. No, it just came out of joy. So your joy in Gita will bring new things in you, I think. And for me, it is Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna is talking to us. If you can just remember that, Sri Krishna is talking to us. That's it, period. Just take it from me. And just enjoy Sri Krishna. Just listen to the great teacher, great yogi, master. The divine himself is talking to us. And in beautiful sounds, then Sanskrit will not be a problem. Philosophy will not be a problem. Sri Krishna has taken the most complex philosophies of our tradition and put them together. Can you imagine? What a great mind overmind he was. Please just put them all together. Like piece of cake, 700 shlokas, boom, everything. Great, great thinkers have a hard time with these. And he brings them together. So you'll become a philosopher. You'll become a poet. You'll become a yogi. You'll become a dhyani. You'll become a lover of Sri Krishna. And most importantly, you'll enjoy Sri Krishna, which is what I feel Sri Krishna is. So Aviralji, what do you say now? You have to come up with Sanskrit. Sounds like Visha and Vishaya are related. Of course they are. Both are detrimentally intoxicating in some sense, and both take over. Vishnu also sounds related. Is Vishnu also related? Yes. Feels like, not sure how. So, nu sound, nu, anu, prani, right? Give me some kana, gana, mana. Na always comes as a unit. Anu, kana, gana, mana. Have you noticed that? Vi here is expansion. Vi sound. Vishnu is an expansion of the unit or in the unit. Visha sound, but just adding the nu changes it. Do you see that? Vishnu is a unit of the universe, if that makes sense. At least that's how I understand it. But Visha and Vishaya are definitely related. And I think you're right. Both are detrimentally intoxicating. And that's what Ashtavakra Gita says. Vishayan Vishvatyaja, famous statement. Reject them both, as if reject the Vishaya like they are poison, like it is poison. So yes, Sanskrit, that is the genius of Sanskrit. The root sounds are connected. I'm not an expert in Sanskrit, so I'm warning you beforehand. But to me, I just go with it and I just have fun with it. And if you have better references, please share them so we will all learn. Okay, Pankajji, your hand is raised, or is it an old?
No, I just wanted to add to what Rahul was saying, that certain shlokas, like there is just the resonance of sound that, it's like it brings a sense of euphoria maybe. And I think Shloka 52 for me, at least the first part is that yadate moha kalilam buddhiravyati tarish. That just sends me to some other place.
Yes, absolutely. They're so beautiful. Yadate moha kalilam. It's the sound is so beautiful. Kalila sound almost sound like you're listening to waves. That's what I felt. Kalilam. And then he brings in Tarishyati. How beautiful.
Tarishyati.
I mean, it's such a beautiful touch to it. And every shloka has that. It's the experience. The sound takes you to that experience. It's almost like an alternate language going on, parallel language going on. So if you just have to let him carry you in that sound. So actually the sound is even a better language than the literal meaning sometimes. So yeah, thank you for saying that. That's very well pointed. All right, I think I don't have anything else to add.
Sorry, Pallavi has her hand raised. I don't know.
Oh, okay, Pallaviji, go ahead.
Just further sharing, like what Rahul expressed, I have had the same experience in school. I took up because I had to take up Sanskrit, and it was such a daunting because it started with grammar and just spaced out completely, managed to pass and all of this stuff. So now with your sessions, Dr. Parikshit, it's my being is responding to the joy that you are sharing with. I find that. And what my being is also responding to is actually the musical part of it. And when you start explaining the details, I again go, that's personally for me, I go blank. Okay, no, I don't think I can understand this, but I can very well respond to the musical and the joyful part of it. So that's how I'm experiencing it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah. So you know what the Mimamsaks used to say about the Veda. You don't have to understand it. Just listen to the sound and you will get the experience. Of course, You can't go to that extreme. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. The sound itself will give you the experience if you can absorb it and hold it in your dharana. The key is dharana.
Yes. Yes.
If you can be still, just like that space, you just become that space and let the sound vibrate through. That's it.
Yes.
There is no one, no pallavi there. There's just space, emptiness, or consciousness space, as they call it, chidakasha. And let the sound go through. Boom. That's it. Mantra is...
Even at today's session, my eyes are constantly watering. I don't have an issue with my eyes. It's the joy that I'm experiencing that my eyes are
Yes,
constantly watering. So that's a
that's
shame.
good. That's good. So Paramavyoma is the word that is used for the mantra in the Veda. Paramavyoma, ultimate space, ultimate sky. So, but there's no ultimate sky out there. Ultimate sky is right here. We are that ultimate sky, but we identify with this name, form, me, this, mine. The moment we have that sense, then there is only space. Let Sri Krishna vibrate through that, and that will give you the bliss. All right, I think I have talked enough and much. Partha Dada would make you all be quiet. And I think it's important. If you feel like going there, please do it, because you can always come back to this and have fun. But if Partha Dada is saying be quiet, that's very important. Learn to be very, very quiet, and he'll take you through the processes. All right, Pranam. Namaste.